now joined on the show by an old friend of mine. He's a drummer, he's a songwriter, he's a producer. He's earned millions and millions of albums sold with his rock band Hinder. Talking about Cody Hanson. How the hell you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing good. You are on the launch, the debut episode of Loud and Unfiltered. And I couldn't think of out of everybody I wanted to get on the podcast, I couldn't think of a better person to go with than you. It's all about the podcast itself is all about kind of taking people backstage with the storytellers of like music, art, entertainment, and stuff. And your story is probably one of the most unique and incredible and just badass rock and roll stories ever. So I'm glad you're on the debut episode, brother.
Well, thank you for having me, man. I'm honored. Appreciate that.
We've known each other almost 20 years now, right?
Yeah, long time.
Long time. So when we first met, hold on, I got to pull something up here. Does this look familiar to you?
Oh yeah, that is what my nightmares are made of, actually. That and Jägermeister.
Yeah. So one of the many times you guys played where I'm from. You brought that was actually y'all's first stop here, and you came into the studio. We did the radio stuff, but you brought in this bottle of tequila, and we spent probably about an hour and a half in the studio, and we just nailed that entire bottle of tequila. You guys signed it. And then, had the show that night. Everything went great and all that stuff. Well, so the other day, my buddy Eric Slater, he works up in Amarillo. You know Eric well.
Yeah, love Slater.
Yeah. So he posted a picture on Facebook, and in the background, I could see the same case, all that. And I'm like, okay, I see the Hinder logo, and I'm like, I wonder how many of those bottles they went through on that tour leading up to the release of Extreme Behavior. Do you remember?
Oh man, no, there's no way. So the whole story behind that was, the record label bought cases of that stuff.
Yeah.
We got the stickers, whatever, and the whole thing was, we kept it in the bay of our old RV, that we had when we first started, the Falcon that we called it.
Yeah.
And the deal was we'd go in, pull it out of the hot bay, with our little, whatever cups we could find, most times little styrofoam cups.
Yeah.
And the goal every time, like as you said, was to finish the bottle before we left. So that went on for way too long. We were doing it every day at 6 or 7 in the morning. Ooh. And finally we got so tired of tequila that we discovered Jägermeister. So instead of replacing it like normal human beings would do, we brought in the Jägermeister and used it as a chaser with the tequila. So that's how, and then our Jägermeister sponsorship or endorsement or whatever back was born like that. So it was I don't know, man. Those were interesting times. I remember being on the when we were doing our Bad Boys of Rock tour.
Yeah.
It was our first big tour. It was like arenas and amphitheaters, and we were playing, like, I still don't know how this happened, but we were playing after Papa Roach. So it was us as the headliners.
Right.
Papa Roach before us, then Buck Cherry. And then, the first band switched off between like Rev Theory and the Exies, but a really great lineup full of really great bands, right?
Yeah.
We're going around the country doing this shit like 6 and 7 in the morning, drinking, and we don't stop. It's not like we because you know how that goes. You can't just drink and then stop. You feel like shit, right?
Yeah.
So we would go all day and have to, follow these great bands, later that night. And finally, our management and our agent at that time, flew in, sat us all down. They were like, "Look, guys, like, I know you guys are out here having a great time, and that's good, but we really gotta you really got to slow down on the drinking. It's starting to affect the shows, blah, blah, blah. And so we're like, okay, yeah, that's fine. And then at the end of it, he's like, okay, and by the way, we got you guys a Jägermeister endorsement. So here's a check to go buy your So it didn't go as planned for them, I don't think. But yeah, those are crazy days, man.
It's like saying, "Hey, I want you to stop snorting cocaine, but here's an 8 ball."
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so while we're on the subject, Cody, I mean, Hinder's partying is the stuff of legends. I've out of all the different bands that I know and have met throughout all the years, all of them, I mean, like at least 90% of them have a Hinder story where you guys drank them under the table and basically just embarrassed them after the show. Like, what band was your favorite as far as basically just just taking them on with a partying challenge?
Man, I honestly, I think one of the hardest partying bands that we and I really bonded over that was, I think back in the day, was Rev Theory. Like,
Yeah.
we would always go over to their RV, and there would always be some. Most of the time, it was really weird though. Looking back, I didn't think anything of it back then, but now, thinking back, I'm thinking, man, this was really weird. We'd go over there, and it seems like they were always naked in there. I don't know why. And sometimes, like, I'm sure there were females in there, but I don't really always remember them. So I don't know. Things were not really clear, but I do
Yeah.
have this one memory of the guys in Saliva had caught word, and people had been telling them about us and how we could drink. And
Yeah.
I remember Paul, the drummer, a couple of them came over, but
Yeah.
they were like, "No, man, we can drink you guys under the table, man. We're hardcore." And we're like, "Okay, well, cool, let's do it." So we start getting after it, start drinking shots, whatever. And then before you know it, he just like threw his hands up in the air, got down on the ground, and literally crawled under our table, like in a fetal position, like, no more, no more.
Oh, that is
Pretty fun.
awesome. That's actually, I was hoping that you would tell that story. That's one of the best ones ever. And I promise we're going to get to your music because it is quite prolific. You're an incredible, drummer and songwriter and such, but I kind of like the path that we're on right now. So the day that we had this bottle of tequila, after the interview, you guys go back to the venue. I wrap up everything at the station, and then I haul ass up to the venue. When I get there, and this is kind of a two-part story. First off, that was the day. That was the day that you guys received the package, the hard DVD, the physical DVD of Lips of an Angel, the video. Because that was before the big digital, and you couldn't just email a music video.
Right.
Y'all just received, you just got it. They mailed it to the venue. You got Lips of an Angel. Right when I was pulling up, you're like, come here, come here, come here, come here. We're about to go watch our new video, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, Marshall and Ryan from Faction pop out and go, but first, let's take a shot of this moonshine. And I think it was like an hour later that we actually made it to y'all's bus to watch the video because we sat there in the breezeway of that venue drinking that moonshine. That was a fun moment, a little sidebar to it, but that brings us to Marshal Dutton. I mean, Faction, that was one of y'all's first tours. Faction is on tour with you, and now 20 years later, the guitarist of Faction is the singer of Hinder. Did you know Marshall and or Faction before that tour? And then, I mean, like, how did that whole relationship spark up between y'all?
It's funny. We knew of Faction.
Yeah.
We didn't know who we'd never met him, but it was, before we got our record deal, we were always watching the different labels and, kind of just seeing who we wanted to try to go after, right? Whenever it came time. And I remember Faction had their record deal before we did.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they got signed to Roadrunner, we were just like, what the fuck, man? Who are these fucking faction guys? Like how the fuck are they getting a deal for us? This is bullshit. And so we were always watching. And yeah, and then a couple years later, they were always out, definitely every time we played in Texas,
Yeah.
they were opening the show.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we just became, really close with them. They were partiers like we were,
Right.
And then, I mean, Jesus, like if anybody has ever seen Marshall play a guitar, like
Yeah.
it's magical. You know what I mean? Like that dude is he's incredibly talented. And so, and such a good dude, right? So we just kind of stayed in touch over the years. And then, Marshall and I decided to get together. Oh, I almost forgot about this, but so our old tour manager that we called Fokker, I don't know if you remember.
I remember him. Craig. Yeah.
So the two of us decided to manage Faction after they got dropped from Roadrunner, and we set up showcases for them, in Vegas. Had all these labels come out. For whatever reason, it just didn't quite work out. But in the process of that, Marshall and I had been, writing and recording together. We're both just getting started in it. And so we brought him out on the road while we were, writing for the All American Nightmare album.
Right.
And I think we had written like close to 70 songs for that album. We'd been writing for a long time. And so Marshall comes out on the road. We set up a little recording studio in the back of the bus. And we just record songs all day, go play the show, come back after the show, keep drinking and record all night, and then get up and do it all over again.
Rinse and repeat. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we did that for a long time. And, as a result of it, we kind of started a little production company, and we've been writing and recording other bands and doing stuff for Hinder. And then, everything kind of, fell apart on that front with us. We'd tried out some other guys, even had some guys come out and play shows. Jared Weeks came out for a while, and, he filled in and did an awesome job. We love Jared. And then I don't know, whatever made us decide not to go that route. I don't even remember now, but we almost went with another guy, and that was it was a train wreck, to be honest. It just didn't go well. We weren't fitting. And so I think we were tired, and we just wanted somebody that somebody that felt like family, like somebody who cared about our band as much as we did.
Right.
And there was really only one answer, man. He was right there the whole time. And so we were idiots. I don't know what took us so long. But, So I think we were just probably nervous, and Marshall was too, because he was helping with the search the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we kind of forced him into it, to be honest, but that's kind of another story. But I think we were all just kind of nervous about how different, the voices were, to change the sound that radically was scary for us. You know what I mean? But, we took the leap, and we're super happy that we did. You know what I mean? It worked. It's worked out great for us so far.
Well, your fans are super happy as well. That's obvious, at the shows, with, attendance, and, how they interact with you and engage with you on social media. So you made the right choice. Marshall is an incredible talent. I mean, and you said you needed to find the right person for the band, but also you needed to find the right person for the brand. And, he'd already been part of the brand, so it just made sense.
For us, a lot of people don't realize that, he'd been singing the demos of all those songs, for a really long time. We were used to hearing his voice on all those tracks.
Yeah.
So for us, it was just like, oh yeah, this is cool. All right, let's just move on.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, it's a great choice. Love Marshall to death. The band sounds better than ever. As I'm fumbling over my words, speaking of better than ever, you guys are in a class like of distinction that very few bands, very few musicians, artists are in. You're in the Oklahoma Music Hall of Fame. Have you looked at the list of legends that you're alongside?
Yeah, it's crazy. I think those dudes are out of their minds for letting
Right.
us in there, right? But yeah, we're yeah. Hey, I've got it right here actually. Like my little award that we got from them.
That's
So
cool. Oh,
yeah,
badass.
yeah. So they're I don't know if we're gonna get to go this year, but they did reach out and they're doing a bunch of really cool Red Dirt bands this year.
Awesome.
Uh, so hopefully we can make it out there, for the ceremony this year. But
Right.
yeah, we're super honored to be a part of that. That's I don't know, it's amazing.
Well, now speaking of Red Dirt, being that you and Marshall have Back Lounge Productions, do you guys work with Red Dirt artists? I mean, what does your lineup look like coming in and out of the studio?
These days, we've really just kind of been focused more on Hinder, or some of our we had kind of done some little side projects, or started
Yeah,
to do some side projects. But yeah, I mean, Marshall and I had, and along with Jared Denton. I don't know if you remember him.
yeah,
He's
I
the
remember.
killer.
Yeah, drink more.
Yeah, we did a country project with,
Yeah,
Blower played guitar, and Josh played guitar. Mike
yeah,
played bass for a little while, and so yeah, we've done a lot of country stuff. Just little things here and there. We actually had Stony LaRue come in and do some vocals
that's
recently, and
cool.
so that was
Yeah,
pretty cool. We get along with him really well. Really good dude. So yeah, I mean, we kind of do a little bit of everything. We'll even we'll get crazy and do rap sometimes. It's most times like
yeah.
really white boy rap, but we like it. So it's a good time. So
What was the name of your group? Seabass.
oh, Seabass and the Fellas.
Yes, Seabass and the Fellas. Okay, I'm not going to say any more about that. I don't know if that's something that you're trying to hide on the dark web or anything, but
No, man, it's all good.
y'all can go Google that. Seabass and the Fellas, absolutely epic. Cody, I want to kind of shift gears a little bit. Everybody that knows me knows how redundant I am with the hashtag be a good human. And you epitomize that. And specifically really touches my heart. You're a huge animal lover. You're big on rescues. First off, how many rescues do you have? And because I'm sure your house is like a farm, just like mine is. But kind of what got you into, because when you're out of this production studio and off tour, you're with the animals and your wife.
Yeah, man. Well, we're down to three now,
Oh,
so we're
okay.
we're keeping our farm is pretty small at the moment. We've been trying to consider making a move, out of the country, and can't figure it out to get the animals. So as they
Right.
get older and we unfortunately lose them, we just kind of, like I said, just trying to keep it small. But yeah, man, you know, I've always, ever since I was a little kid, just tried to take in as many strays as possible,
Yeah.
and we try to, when we can, try to raise money for different rescues, and try to
Right.
help wherever we can. It's a big deal. We definitely love animals.
Yeah, it sickens me. One of the things that I hate about the internet is social media, just because of all the vitriol. And I know where people's intentions are when they share the videos, but if I see one more person sharing a video that has to do with torturing an animal, I'm probably going to lose my shit. I mean, I understand people want to share. Some people share it for the shock factor, and others share it just to kind of bring light to a
Yeah.
situation, which I understand. But man, when I see that, I don't know how much more my heart can break when I hear about an animal that's abused or neglected and stuff. So good
Yeah.
on you, man. I love where your heart's at, and it's really cool to see people like you that have a platform, a huge voice, that are able to as cliche as it is, be the voice for the voiceless. So that's badass, brother.
Well, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that.
Now, as we get a little bit towards the end here, On Loud and Unfiltered, at about this time, we feature a question from the previous guest. Well, since Cody is the inaugural guest of the debut episode of Loud and Unfiltered, we don't have a guest in front of you. So I was going to reach out to Blower because I knew I'd get something really good out of him. But this is a question that I'd always asked myself to ask you guys anytime I had interviewed you, and I always forgot until now. And I can't believe I remembered this. What are some of the other names that you guys pondered before you chose Hinder?
Oh, wow. Holy shit, that's a really hard question, man.
Do you look back on it?
You have to ask the guy with the worst memory, too.
Yeah.
Let me think about this, man. I really don't know.
Yeah.
I can't think of any, man. Like, I don't know, but coming up with a band name is like, it's the most difficult thing ever, I think.
Right, yeah.
It's hard, man. It's hard to make something, come up with something cool. Like, even we were so like, so I'm sure everybody's heard how we came up with the name, but like, we had shows like booked. We were booking shows as a band with no name. And then it was like, we were getting the guy from the bar calling going, hey man, like your show is coming up. What, like, you don't like, what are you doing? And so we were like, okay, so this is back in the day, we still had like books on the shelf, right? So we were at my parents' house and pulled out a thesaurus, and we were like, well, fuck, we'll just look up frustrated, because we're all pissed off. And we just scrolled down. The coolest word that we could find under there was Hinder, and that's what we went with. Like, it's kind of let's be honest, Hinder's kind of a shitty band name, but it was the coolest word under there. And we were like, yeah, fuck it, let's just do it. So, there have been bands that I've heard their name and immediately just like, no. But Hinder wasn't one of those. It wasn't one of those that I went, holy shit, that's like the greatest band name ever. But it wasn't one that I just kind of dismissed, thinking that it was a crappy one. But it's funny because, we talked about this, a week or so ago, but got to drink my Dr. Pepper Zero. I don't have an endorsement deal, but damn it, next time we talk, Cody, I'm going to have a Dr. Pepper Zero endorsement deal. Just watch. But no, okay, so my name is Frank Payne or Keith Hayes. My real name is Keith Hayes. Frank Payne is what I've been for the past 30 years on radio. Recently lost my job, so I was kind of going, it's like, well, I'm not on the radio anymore, so I'm not Frank Payne anymore. And but I still go by Frank Payne because of the familiarity, because I don't want to take another 30 years to develop a brand. Well, it's funny that you came with the name going through this thesaurus. Frank Payne came up through the phone book. I was 30 seconds away from my first break ever. And I was doing overnights, and the DJ before me said, what's your radio name? Oh, shit. He goes, give me a letter. And he scrolls through the phone book, back when phone books were a thing. And I said, F, and he stops on F, Frank. Give me another letter. Went through, stopped on P, Payne. That's where Frank Payne came from. Shit. Yeah. It's not like some crazy name, before radio, I was in some kind of fight club, and, I was blunt, like Frank is in blunt and Payne is in what I inflicted. No, not shit like that. It was a phone book. It was that's awesome.
Literally a phone book.
Speaking of Mr. Marshal Dutton, look at this guy.
Look at that. My brother from another mother.
Is that Frank Payne over there?
Frank Payne. Hey, you doing, Marshall? You doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. How you doing? You still looking handsome?
Oh, I'm not nearly as handsome as you two. I mean, that's I've known both of you guys for decades, and I'm the only one that has aged, and I don't understand that.
Whatever.
It could be those
not looking close enough.
Yeah. Could be
keep
those
it dark in the studio.
Could be those breakfasts that Marshall's having on tour at all those diners. I'm telling you, man, I've been getting really jealous about that. All right, Cody, before we let you go, because it looks like you're about to do a little bit of work with Marshall, and Marshall can actually chime in if he wants as well. The end of the show is called the Unfiltered Finale. Just a bunch of stupid questions. So here are your questions, Cody and Marshall. What's something you'd rather do than calm an angry woman?
Fuck an angry woman.
That's a great way to calm her.
I was gonna say literally anything. But yeah,
well, I'm gonna leave it like that because plus
I feel like there's a line in there, because
yeah,
sex so much better.
There's nothing more we could do with that. And besides, if Cody answers, Danielle may get mad, so we don't want to get him in trouble yet. All right, next one. What useless thing in your house do you refuse to throw away?
my wife.
Ah!
What am I gonna get in trouble?
And this was not rehearsed. All right, the next one. What odd skill do you still have from your first job?
What, say that again?
What odd skill do you still have from your first job? See, my first job.
I can mix concrete.
That was your first job doing construction?
Yeah. So I was what they called a labor so my dad owned for a while a masonry company, a commercial masonry company. And so I was like, basically I was the bitch for all the bricklayers. Like I was the guy that everybody would scream at all day to go and get their stuff, So I'd be the guy that have to, mix up the mud in the mixer and keep it all on the mud boards and do all the bitch work, go get tie wire or whatever it was, So I was that guy.
What about
I think my first job was driving a tractor, so I
really
do that, but it's been a while, so I don't know if anybody would trust me with that.
Next thing Marshall ends up on headline news because he ran ran over some poor farmer's 3 pigs because he couldn't get the tractor stopped or something. All right, the final one, and this goes for both of you. What's your guilty pleasure?
Are we talking in music?
Anything. But music would be cool. I mean, if you've got a guilty pleasure in music, let's hear it.
Man, I don't know that I'd call them, guilty pleasures because we do, we have to draw our influences from everywhere. But
right, yeah.
I love gangster rap. That'd be one. I love 80s and 90s country. And I actually really love Justin Bieber's voice.
I can't disagree with that, man.
All right. I want to so bad and I can't.
I'm a believer. God, this is the debut episode of Loud and Unfiltered. It's going to be the last one because Cody Hanson of Hinder got me to admit that I'm a believer, and now we got Marshall with his answer, and he's going to. What's that?
I said, now you can't take it back. It's recorded. It's on air.
I know. So here, Marshall, go ahead and emasculate both Cody and I. What's your guilty pleasure?
Man, I've been reading, I like fantasy novels, like that total nerd shit, like Wheel of Time.
Oh, yeah. That's badass.
Time series, and I'm obsessed with fantasy novels. Anne Rice, anything, Vampire Chronicles. I've read that series like so many times. I just love that kind of stuff.
That's probably why you guys still look so young. You've kind of taken that bite out of mortality, huh?
Yeah, we're just pickled.
Well, I can't thank you enough, both of you. Marshall, is great to see you.
See you, man.
I love you both dearly, and I can't wait to see you again. I'll be heading up to Oklahoma soon, and when I do, I'll shoot you a message. And speaking of gangster rap, I'm going to leave you with this. I'll text the link to both of y'all, or you can go to YouTube. Ice Cube was on Fallon one night, and during a commercial break, he did Straight Outta Compton with the Roots and somebody in the crowd, and it's fucking incredible. It is incredible.
That's awesome, dude. We actually got to play.
We just played a show.
At Blue Ridge Rock Fest. We got to play on the same stage as Ice Cube.
Really?
Amazing. Like, the crowd was like, okay, all through the day, whatever. And then when Ice Cube went on, it was like, holy shit, you couldn't see the end of the people. It was amazing. Yeah, it was
wow.
All going crazy too, man.
Yeah, it was a badass show, man.
That's awesome. Well, you guys deserve all those shows, and best of luck to you. I love you both, and I hope you have a great evening, and I appreciate you, man, so much.
Thanks, buddy. Love you too, man.
We'll talk
to you soon, man.
See ya. Hey, I'm Frank Payne, the host of Loud and Unfiltered. Thank you so much for checking out the debut episode. Thank you to Cody Hanson of Hinder, as well as Marshal Dutton of Hinder. Both of them great people, great friends of mine. But thank you so much for supporting Loud and Unfiltered. Don't forget to check us out on our website at DaleJr.forPresident.com. Got all the links for you for the podcast and more. Again, thank you so much. Don't forget new episodes every Tuesday. And just remember to stay loud and unfiltered, and please be a good human.